Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Border Battle Show. I'm your host, Eli Merrick, and with me is Tim Smith. We are to the conference championships, which means we have some great matchups in store to talk about today. But of course, the focus is always going to be on the quarterbacks, and these quarterback matchups are spectacular. Man, the one dominant team continues to dominate this year, and this quarterback is considered to be the best in the league right now. And his opponent, really big as well, Tim.
Yeah, his opponent is just an all-out guy. He's defied odds, improved year after year. He just carries the team on his back. He can throw the ball, he can run the ball, he can get out of the pocket well. He has explosive pieces on the offense, and he's just amazing. And I mean, he's just one of the most exciting guys, and I think we're going to look back and be in awe of what this guy accomplished.
Excellent breakdown. And the other quarterback matchup is Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. These matchups are actually really good in all seriousness, Tim. And this is going to be an exciting show to break it all down. You're watching the Border Battle Show. Let's start out by recapping our games from last week. We had 4 games, different format for the NFL playoffs this year. Only one team getting a bye, the Packers and the Chiefs for the AFC and the NFC. And we'll just hit them in order. Start out with the Green Bay Packers and their big win over the Los Angeles Rams. Number 1 offense versus number 1 defense. This game went about how I thought it would. Packers really dominated. Tim, what did you think watching this game?
I think it was really clear the role that Aaron Donald plays on this team. He was only playing partial snaps most of the game. He was on a snap count of some sort. So, I mean, he wasn't in a lot, and you saw just how ineffective the Rams defense. I mean, to be fair, a lot of it credit can go to the Packers for being, the best offense in the league too. But I think the Rams could not do nearly enough without having the presence of Donald on every play. That's my big impression.
Yeah, and don't take away from this Packers offense. Obviously, Donald being gone is going to make a big difference, especially stopping the run, I think. Because the Packers' run game just went off in this game. The Rams had no answer. The Packers ran for over 200 yards in the game. Aaron Jones with that 60-yard bomb. He finished with almost 100 yards and a touchdown. Williams coming back off of his injury, a big night. A.J. Dillon with some action. He did have a fumble, which was scary, but the young guy chipping in as well. And then the Packers wide receivers really got open more than I think a lot of people were expecting coming into this game.
Yeah.
The Rams have very good cornerbacks, Jalen Ramsey, obviously. But they slowed Devontae Adams down. He got 66 yards and a touchdown, but the Packers offense was able to do what it wanted, and it never tripped them up. They gave up the Packers offense, and this is the first time this has ever happened. First team in NFL history in the playoffs to get 475 yards in total offense, plus 175 rushing yards with 0 sacks, 0 turnovers. And they did this against the number 1 defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
It was a very impressive game.
Yeah, it was. The weird thing was, despite being the number 1 defense, the Rams really only looked competent on offense most of the game, and their secondary seemed MIA, compared to what we would have expected from them, and it was very much of a letdown for people who didn't want the Packers to win.
Yeah, definitely. I would say this game was even the scoreboard was closer than the actual game was.
I don't know about that.
Packers dominated. The Packers
were dominant.
The second half.
But second half they didn't even, the defense was looking better again for the Rams.
Yeah, and the defense just never seemed like the Rams were suddenly going to open up. They only had 244 yards of offense in this game. It never seemed like they were suddenly going to score a bunch of points.
Yeah, well, the issue was and it's what I said before, and I hold to it, is you have to basically shut down the Packers 2 out of the first 3 drives of a game, and then you can make it a game. If you don't do that, you won't get a game out of it, and they didn't do that.
Yeah, let's move on to Baltimore against the Baltimore Ravens against the Buffalo Bills. You are very big on the Bills. They have been a team you've been hyping up all year, Tim, and they delivered in this game. Ravens came in, they were getting a lot of picks. A lot of people were saying they were going to win this game. Lamar Jackson had been playing really well. Bills defense, there had been some questions. But the Bills pulled through in this game. They only scored 17 points, won 17-3. What stood out to you? The Bills are now going to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah. So the thing here was this was the kind of game the Rams would have needed to beat the Packers. It was for most of the game. It was slow, low scoring, defensive oriented. It was real windy, real cold in Buffalo, and I mean that. You would almost think that would play in the Ravens' favor. They had kicker issues, I think was the big thing that stood out to me. Tucker went 1 for 3. Tucker, who's wildly considered to be the best kicker in the league. And, I mean...
Yeah, it just got totally... he got screwed up by the announcers, I think.
Yeah. That was the play that stood out the most to me. Al Michaels was just like, and this guy almost never misses. And I was like...
Yeah, he's perfect.
Misses the next kick.
Automatic field goal kicker comes out and misses twice. I hear the Vikings are interested in signing
Yeah,
him.
he seems to fit the bill now.
Absolutely. What do you think? Oh, we should have talked about the Rams' chances moving forward. It's kind of a tradition as teams leave the playoffs. But let's talk about the Ravens first, and we'll go back and hit the Rams right after that. What do you think about the Ravens' future?
The Ravens' future is good as long as Lamar Jackson stays healthy. I think that if Lamar Jackson can develop a little more of the stereotypical quarterback skills with all the other talent he has, like he will be a very top 5 quarterback in the league for several years, I think. So as long as Lamar Jackson's healthy and well, I think their future's good.
Absolutely. It's hard to see someone with that much talent failing from here on out. So, Ravens will be back, and I think they'll be competing with the Browns, weirdly enough, for the next few years for the top of their division. Speaking of the Browns, they end their very exciting season just falling short to the number 1 team in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs win 22-17. Mahomes got injured in this game. Henne came in and played okay after Mahomes got hit in the head and had to go through concussion protocol. Right now, it's looking like he might play. He is practicing. But yeah, Chiefs did just enough to get this win. Obviously, their passing game, we know it's good. Tyreek Hill, Kelsey, Hardman, all doing their part, having big games. And the running game did just enough to chew clock. And Henne came in and got the first downs that this team needed, even without their GOAT, Patrick Mahomes. What did you think, Tim?
This game, if you ask most people who watched it, came down to like 2 plays. There's 2 plays that kind of define this game. There's Mahomes getting injured, and then probably the really big play, especially if you ask any Browns fan, was the fumble going into the end zone, touchback, and then everybody has to talk about that rule again for the next 2 hours.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
There needs to be some sort of detriment to just diving headlong towards the end zone. So I think it's a good rule, personally.
Yeah,
But man, it feels bad.
Does.
It feels really bad, and it's such a momentum swinger.
The interesting thing I heard about it actually is that Bill Belichick, when coaching his teams, refuses to let any of his players ever dive for the end zone. And that makes sense. I mean, even if you don't get it's going to be a 1st and goal. You're going to have 1st and goal there anyways, right? Like just take.
Yeah, if your team is good, you should be able to punch it in.
But yeah, and I mean, when you end up losing by 5 like that can make the difference in a game. And so that's what you'll hear from every Browns fan is that was the big play.
Absolutely, but they're used to heartbreak. They'll get over
And
it.
I mean,
They're
they can hold their heads high. This was a breakthrough year for them, and I mean, you can get a lot of different opinions about Baker Mayfield, but the rest of the team is very good, very talented, lots of depth up and down. So I mean, they're going to be good for a couple more years at least.
yeah, and like give Baker some credit. This is the first quarterback that's been able to do this with the Browns
Yeah,
in 20 plus
yeah.
years. That's quite an accomplishment. So give them some credit. They'll be back next year. They got good young pieces. They should be fun to watch moving forward. Final matchup, Sunday night game, was the quarterbacks of an age past, I would say. These quarterbacks are the old ones. Brady and Breeze, probably their last time playing each other ever. And this was a classic. Buccaneers end up taking the win 30-20. It's that old rule, if you beat them twice in the regular season, they'll beat you in the postseason. Buccaneers win. You called it, Tim. Brady played really good. And Breeze just not a good performance. He threw 3 picks. Buccaneers defense is good. What more do you have to say about this game?
This to me, the thing with the Saints is this iteration of the Saints we've seen is two things. Especially this year, they've looked really flat all year. Like they've been good, they win games, but like at no point in the season, other than that game against the Vikings where they just looked unstoppable, and maybe a couple other games, but just a lot of the times they seemed weirdly flat. And I don't know if that's because they lacked Michael Thomas most of the year or what. It never felt like it was a good Saints team, despite the fact they're winning. That was my read on them most of the year, and the fact that they've had playoff issues. Like I saw a stat, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but like over the past 4 years, if you take their like winning percentage, they've been like one of the worst teams in the playoffs to be like that successful in the regular season.
Yeah, it makes sense. And Brady, obviously a winner in the postseason through and through, does end up taking the win. What do you see for the Saints moving forward? They have a lot of cap issues. It's estimated that they're about $100 million over cap right now. Is Breeze gonna retire? I would say a big reason why this Saints team was unsuccessful is just that Breeze is getting older.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it, and I mean I don't know. Like I think part of it maybe is that there's a limit to Sean Payton's coaching ability, and maybe that's me just being a salty Vikings fan. I don't know.
Yeah, sure could be.
But I think the Saints are in a real tough spot. Especially, it sounds like it's more than likely that Breeze retires, and sure that takes some off the cap space. But they signed a lot of guys recently to extensions because they wanted to make one more run of it with Breeze. So now they're way over the cap, and they don't have an obvious choice at quarterback. They could go to Jameis Winston, but they don't seem super big on him. Like they've used him in some roles, but they don't seem as big on him as people thought they may have been. They could go to Taysom Hill, but he's only played in a couple games as a starter. So, I mean, they have a lot of questions moving forward.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do moving forward. Well, that wraps up all the matchups for the week. We have our conference championship set. It is going to be Packers and the Bucks. What a matchup. And then Chiefs versus Bills. Tim, you did really good in picks last week. So good. You went 7-1. You are now 42-23 on the season. Just, really impressive. I went 4-4. Very average and uninspired. 37-28 on the year. You have basically wrapped it up on the season. We only have 3 more games to go, so with picking against the spread, 6 points to be had. If you get all of them wrong, I get all of them right. I could steal it. We have 2 games to pick this week, Tim.
Yep.
2 big matchups. We'll do them in the order that they appear because they're both big games at this point. And you will pick first because you are in the lead. Buccaneers, the 5 seed, coming in to play the Packers in Lambeau Field. I got the weather pulled up right here because I do feel like this is pretty relevant.
That's a good call.
For outdoor games in Lambeau Field. Right now, on your forecast, 28 degrees, snow showers, 50%, 7-mile-an-hour winds. We'll see. It always varies. It was a little warmer than I was thinking
Yeah.
at game time last Sunday. But anyways, the Packers are a 3-point favorite at home. What are you picking, Tim?
Just to add to the weather, I remember hearing the forecast was 4 to 8 inches of snow, and I don't see snow the day before or after, so it could be relatively snowy. But so the spread's 3, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to pick the Buccaneers win because I have to pick the Buccaneers win.
No. No.
Because the Packers need to lose to somebody. But I have a note on this game. This is my positive note for Vikings fans of the week. The Vikings.
Okay.
On the one hand, you have the Buccaneers, who worst game against the run, and they were the number 1 team run defense. The worst game was against the Vikings, and then you have the Packers, whose only time they've lost at Lambeau Field this year was against the Vikings. So the Vikings can beat good teams. That's my happy Vikings note.
Yeah. Okay. Happy Vikings. Tim, we're in the NFC. We're in the championship week. Why are you talking about the Vikings?
Because, I mean, this is my job, right? I got to talk about the Vikings.
Yeah, I suppose. You are the Vikings guy. So you're picking Buccaneers to win and cover, I see. You're wrong. Packers are a dominant team. Sure, we lost to the Buccaneers back, I think that was week 6 of the regular season, very early on. And that game can be boiled down to Aaron Rodgers did not play well. He turned the ball over a couple times very early on in that game, and the Packers never recovered.
Did you
This game...
hear Rodgers?
Go ahead.
Rodgers made a comment on that game in an interview.
Yeah.
He said, I care about as much as that game as the Buccaneers did about losing 38-3 to the Saints earlier this year.
Yeah, it's the same diff. It doesn't really matter. The Packers got the number 1 seed. That regular season game is behind us. What I will compare to that game is, like that game, it's in the hands of Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers plays well, the Packers win this game, and we can do it pretty easily. If the Packers can just come in, air it out, I don't think the running game is going to have as good of a game as it did against the Rams, against this very stout Buccaneers run defense. But the passing game should be able to have a heyday, and if it comes out firing early, the Packers should be able to do what they do to every team and win this game big. I'm picking the Packers to win and cover, although this is definitely the biggest test that the Packers have faced all year. Final game. Who will the Packers play in the Super Bowl? Bills and Chiefs. Number 1, number 2 coming out of the AFC. We all saw it coming, I feel like, anyone that paid attention. Chiefs are favored at home, -3. Tim, why are you picking the Bills?
Why am I picking the... Well, so this game really comes down to whether or not Mahomes ends up being healthy enough to play. But as of right now,
Yes.
he's limited in practice, and as of right now, he's still in concussion protocol. So I have to play with the assumption that he's not playing. And even setting that aside, I've been saying this all year. The AFC Championship game will be Bills-Chiefs. And even if the Chiefs are better than the Bills and can beat them 9 times out of 10, Josh Allen is a talented enough quarterback to go into Kansas City and win 1 game. And that's it. That's my case, and I'm sticking to it. Bills win, Bills cover.
Wow. We'll see how it goes. I am picking the exact opposite. Chiefs win, Chiefs cover. I'm going with the number 1 seeds in the Super Bowl. They were my pick at the start of the playoffs. They've been the best teams. I think they just get it done. If it is without Mahomes, that's going to be a lot more difficult. I could still see him winning that game, though, so I feel strong about that pick. If Mahomes does play, which I think he probably will, it's really tough to keep, an MVP like that out of the conference championship game if he can go. So I expect him to be out there. I think Chiefs win this game. Packers, Chiefs, Super Bowl. The 2 best quarterbacks in the league right now. Squaring off. Man, it doesn't get any better than that. What a great season.
Yeah, you could. It's really interesting. You could make the argument, and I don't know if I would or not, but you could make the argument that the 4 quarterbacks left are the top 4 quarterbacks in the league right now.
You could definitely make that argument. It just goes to show Offense just wins right now. Defense doesn't win the championships. Rams are going home. Packers are going to the Super Bowl. Thanks for being on the show again, Tim. We will see you guys next week, and we'll react to the conference games. We'll preview the Super Bowl. Should be
Let's
fun.
do it.
Okay, bye, guys.